The midnight thief. It was past midnight. The wind moved gently through the tall trees behind the small farmhouse. The human man, named Jack, was just about to sleep when he heard a sound, soft, like rustling leaves. But it came from the garden. Jack got up slowly, picked up a flashlight, and stepped outside. The air was cool. He followed the sound, walking carefully toward his vegetable garden. Then he saw her. A figure crouched near the carrots, moving quickly. She was not human. Her skin was pale blue, glowing slightly under the moonlight. Her body was thin, almost shaking. She had long arms, and her back looked like it carried a heavy weight. Jack pointed the flashlight toward her. "Stop!" he shouted. The alien woman froze. She didn't run. Slowly, she turned her head and looked at him. Her eyes were large and bright, glowing like stars but full of fear. "Please," she said in a weak voice. I didn't mean to steal. My children, they are hungry." Jack didn't move. His heart was beating fast. He had never seen anything like her before. He didn't know whether to call the police, run away, or help her. She stood up slowly, dropping a few carrots to the ground. She raised her hands, not to fight, but to show she had nothing else. Her body was shaking from the cold. "I only took vegetables," she whispered. "No harm, no weapons." Jack looked at her more closely. Her arms had cuts. Her legs were covered in dirt. Her clothes looked like they were made from torn metal and cloth, like they had been repaired many times. She looked like she hadn't eaten in days. "Where are your children?" Jack asked slowly. She looked behind her, toward the dark woods. "Hiding," she said. "They are weak. No food, no warmth." Jack felt something twist in his chest. He had heard stories, rumors about strange beings seen near the mountains. No one believed them, but now one stood in front of him, not attacking, not dangerous, just desperate. Still, his mind was full of questions. "How did you get here?" he asked. "We fell," she answered. "Ship broke, many died, some ran. I hid." Her voice cracked. "I had to feed them." Jack looked down at the carrots scattered on the ground, then back at her. "You didn't come to hurt anyone?" "No," she said quickly. "Never. I only want my children to live." For a few seconds, they just stared at each other. The night was quiet again, except for the sound of her slow, tired breaths. Jack lowered the flashlight. "Come with me," he said. She stepped back, afraid. "No, if others see me, I won't hurt you," he said. "And I won't tell anyone, but I need to see them, your children." She looked at him for a long moment. Her eyes searched his face, trying to understand if she could trust him. Finally, she nodded. "This way," she said. Jack followed her through the woods. They moved slowly, avoiding the open areas. After 10 minutes, they reached an old, broken shed. The roof had holes. The walls were falling apart. She knelt near a pile of blankets in the corner and pulled it back. Two small shapes were curled together. Alien children. One boy, one girl. Their bodies were thin. Their eyes were closed. They were breathing, but weakly. The woman touched their heads gently. "My babies," she said, "still alive." Jack's throat felt dry. They looked more like ghosts than children. "They need food," he said. She nodded. "I'll bring something," Jack said. "Stay here, keep them warm." He turned to leave, but before he took a step, he felt her hand on his arm. "Why help us?" she asked softly. Jack looked back at her, at the hunger, the pain, and the sadness in her face. "Because no one should watch their children starve," he said. The woman's eyes filled with tears. For a moment she couldn't speak. Then she said, "Thank you, human." Jack walked back to the house with a strange feeling in his heart. He had come out to stop a thief. But what he found was a mother. Children in the shadows, Jack returned, through the woods with a basket of food, some clean cloth, and 2 old blankets. His boots crunched softly on the leaves, and the moonlight guided his way. His heart beat faster with each step. He had never helped an alien before. But those children, They didn't look dangerous. They looked like they were fading away. When he reached the broken shed again, the alien woman was awake, waiting by the door. Her eyes glowed in the dark, but softer now. When she saw the basket in Jack's hands, her face lit up. "You came back," she said. "I said I would." Jack answered. He stepped inside. The smell hit him first. Dust, old metal, and something bitter, like fear that had soaked into the walls. The children were still lying together, silent. But as Jack placed the food down, the girl opened her eyes. She blinked slowly. Her eyes were large and deep purple like a starless night. The boy opened his eyes too. He looked weak but stared at Jack, confused. The mother knelt beside them and gave them pieces of soft bread. She spoke in a quiet alien tongue, but Jack understood the feeling. Comfort, relief, hope. He watched as they ate. Their small hands moved slowly, like they didn't believe the food was real. "You saved them," the woman said softly. "You saved me." Jack shook his head. "I just brought food. That's not saving." She looked at him with a deep, strange expression. "To us it is." There was a pause. The boy looked at Jack and pointed. "Who is he?" the mother answered, in her own language. Then, in slow, broken English, she said, "He is the one who didn't send us away." Jack sat down on an old crate. "Tell me your name." She hesitated. "I am called Iriah." "Iriah," he repeated. "And the children?" She smiled slightly. "This is Siri, my daughter, and him. 10. Jack gave a small nod. "You can stay here tonight. It's not safe outside." Iriah looked at him sharply. "Not safe?" "There have been drones," Jack said. "Military search units. I saw one last week. They've been scanning this area. If they find you..." Her face turned hard. "Then we'll be taken, or worse." Jack didn't ask what worse meant. The boy, 10, leaned against his mother's side. "Mama." "Cold," he whispered. Jack stood up and took the 2 blankets from his basket. "These are old but warm." Iriah accepted them slowly, almost like she didn't trust the gift. But she wrapped them around the children. Siri leaned into the warmth and sighed. "Why are you here?" Jack asked. Iriah didn't answer right away. Her eyes stared into the floor. "Our ship was hunted," she finally said. "We were refugees fleeing war, your planet. We thought it was empty in this region. We didn't mean to crash. We didn't mean to be seen." "How many of you?" "Many, maybe 30. But after the crash, only a few survived. I don't know where they are. I only have my children now." Jack felt something deep in his chest, a strange mix of anger and sadness. Not at her, but at the world. "You didn't choose this," he said. Iriah looked at him again. "No mother chooses to watch her child starve." There was silence. Then suddenly, a noise, a soft metallic hum, outside. Iriah stood up fast. Her hand reached into the shadows and pulled out a long, curved blade made from strange blue metal. Her body stood between Jack and her children. Jack held up a hand. "Wait, it could just be..." But Iriah pointed toward a crack in the shed wall. Jack stepped forward and looked out. His heart dropped. In the distance, behind the trees, a search drone hovered, round, smooth, blinking red. It moved slowly, scanning the area with a soft light. "They're getting closer," Jack whispered. Iriah spoke quickly to her children in her language. They crawled under a panel in the floor, an old root cellar, hidden beneath broken boards. Jack helped pull the cover shut. "We have to move you," he said. "Where?" she asked. "I'll hide you in my barn," he said. "No one checks there." "You would risk yourself?" Jack nodded. "Yes." Iriah looked at him, stunned. "Why?" Jack took a breath. "Because you're not just aliens to me anymore. You're a family." A meal and a warning early. The next morning, mist floated over the fields as the sun peeked through gray clouds. Jack stood at the entrance of his old barn, looking At the small space he had cleaned the night before, straw on the floor, tools moved aside, a heater placed near the back wall. It wasn't much, but it was safer than the woods. He turned when he heard quiet footsteps. Iria approached, holding 10 in her arms and guiding Siri by the hand. The children looked tired, their small heads resting against her sides. Their eyes flicked around nervously, watching everything. "Is this safe?" Iria asked. Jack nodded. "No one comes here. Not even my dog liked this barn." He smiled a little, trying to make them feel calm, but Iria didn't smile back. Her face was still serious, always watching, always ready to run. Inside, the barn, the children curled up on the straw near the heater. Jack handed Iria a tray. Warm eggs, toast, apples, a bottle of water. She stared at it, confused. "You brought this for us?" Jack nodded again. "Eat, then we'll talk." She sat down slowly and gave the food to the children first. 10 held the toast like it was treasure. Siri took small bites, careful not to drop anything. Iria didn't eat until they were full. Then, she turned to Jack. "You could have sent us away," she said. "Why didn't you?" Jack leaned against the wooden wall. "Because I know what it's like to be hungry." Her eyes narrowed. "But you are human. I grew up poor," Jack said. "There were nights we ate nothing. My mom cried in the kitchen. I swore when I had a home, no one hungry would be turned away." Iria looked down. Her fingers gently touched the edge of the tray. "Most humans don't think like you. Most aliens don't knock on doors and beg either." They both sat in silence. Then Iria said, "The drones will come again. They follow signals. Heat, noise, life." Jack looked worried. "How close are they?" "Too close," she said. "They search for survivors, to capture, to silence." "Silence?" Jack asked. "Why?" Iria looked him in the eyes. "Because if the world knows what happened, the truth will spread." Jack was silent. Iria continued. "We were promised peace. The ship was unarmed, but someone lied. We were shot down." Jack's jaw tightened. "By humans?" Iria nodded slowly. "Or someone working with them." The barn felt colder. Jack stepped forward and lowered his voice. "Then you can't stay long, they'll find you eventually." Iria looked toward her children. "Where can we go? We are not from here. We have no map, no friends, no hope." Jack thought hard. "There's an old storm shelter under my cabin. My grandfather built it in case of war. No one knows about it, not even the government." Iria tilted her head. "Why would you hide us?" Jack answered simply. "Because you trusted me with your children. That means something." Just then, the heater buzzed softly. The children were already asleep, warm and full for the first time in days. Iria stood up and walked to them. She tucked a blanket over 10's shoulders. She ran her hand gently through Siri's hair. Jack watched from the side. In that moment, she didn't look like an alien. She just looked like a mother. But then, a loud crack in the distance. Both adults froze. Jack ran to the barn doors and peeked outside. A black van had stopped near the edge of his property. Men stepped out, 3 of them. One held a scanner. Another had something that looked like a strange camera. Military grade, quiet, dangerous. "They're here," Jack said. Iria didn't speak. She was already lifting 10 in her arms. Jack turned fast. "Come on, now!" He led them through, the barn's back exit into the tall grass behind his house. He moved quickly, pushing branches aside, careful not to leave footprints. He guided them to the cabin. Inside, under a rug, he opened a hidden hatch. "Go," he said. Iria looked at him once, deeply, then climbed down with her children. Jack closed the hatch just as a knock echoed on the front door. He took a breath. Time to lie. Visitors in the dark, the knock came again, louder. Jack's hand hovered near the doorknob, his heart pounded. Beneath the floor in the hidden shelter, an alien mother held her sleeping children, breath caught in her throat. If he failed now, it was over. For all of them. Knock. Knock. He opened the door. 3 men stood outside. All wore dark gray jackets. Not military uniforms, but close. Their eyes were cold, searching. One held a small silver scanner. It beeped softly in his palm. "Morning," Jack said, pretending to yawn. "Something I can help you with?" The man in front stepped forward. He was tall, with sharp features and a calm, practiced voice. "Sir, sorry to disturb you. We're with Homeland Biosecurity. There's been a chemical alert in this region." Jack raised an eyebrow. "A chemical alert?" The agent smiled, tightly. "It's probably nothing. Routine scan. We're asking all locals a few questions." The scanner beeped again. The second agent circled around the porch, pretending to look at Jack's window frames. "You live here alone?" the lead agent asked. "Yep," Jack said. "Just me. I've got a dog, but he doesn't like visitors." "You notice anything strange last few days? Lights in the sky? Odd sounds? Unusual animals?" Jack gave a tired laugh. "Coyotes got louder. That's about it." The third man stepped behind the house. Jack's smile dropped for a second. "Hey, he doesn't have permission to go back there," he said. The lead agent held up a badge. "Just a flash. Too fast to read. We're cleared to inspect." "He," said Jack, stepped forward, firm. "You got a warrant?" The man's smile faded. "Is there a reason you're nervous, Mr. Carter?" Jack stared straight at him. "I just don't like strangers poking around my home." Inside the hidden bunker, Iria held her breath. She could hear muffled voices above. 10 stirred in her arms. Siri squeezed her hand tightly. Then something made her blood freeze. Footsteps, right above them. One of the agents was walking across the floor, directly over the trapdoor. Jack clenched his fists as the third man reappeared on the porch. Nothing out back, just tools and a pile of junk. But the man with the scanner narrowed his eyes. Still getting a pulse. Faint but steady. Organic life. More than one source. Jack shrugged. Probably rats. Got a whole mess of them. In the walls. You want to scan my barn too while you're at it? Maybe chase some chickens? The lead agent didn't laugh. Instead, he stepped closer. "We'll be back. You're within our sweep radius. If you see or hear anything at all, you report it." Jack looked him dead in the eye. "Sure. If I see an alien walking through my cornfield, you'll be the first to know." The men walked off. Jack didn't shut the door until the black van disappeared down the long gravel road. Only then did he lock it, pull the rug aside, and open the hatch. Iria's face was pale. She climbed up with the children. "They were scanning," she said softly. "I know. They'll come again. I know that too." 10 tugged on Jack's sleeve. "Were those the bad people, Mama?" Iria picked him up. "Yes, but we're still safe." Jack sat down at the table. He felt the sweat on his back. His hands shook slightly. "That scanner," he said. "It knows you're here." Iria nodded. "Your machines can smell heat, energy, even heartbeat." Jack looked out the window. The sky was still cloudy. "More rain might fall tonight. We have to move again," he said. "Where?" Iria whispered. Jack stared at the forest beyond his fields. "There's an old hunting cabin deep in the woods," he said. "No power, no roads. Nobody goes there anymore. It's far. 4 hours. On foot." Iria touched her children's heads. "We can do it." Jack stood up and grabbed his coat. "Then we leave tonight, after dark." Outside, a hawk flew high above the trees, but far below, deep in the dirt, something else had noticed the scanner's signal. Something not human. The human's promise. The forest was silent. Only the soft crunch of leaves under boots broke the stillness. Jack moved ahead, clearing branches. Behind him, Iria walked carefully, holding 10 in her arms. Siri followed close, clutching her mother's belt. The moonlight barely reached through the thick trees. They had been walking for hours. The deeper they went, the colder it grew. Jack glanced back. We're close. Maybe 20 more minutes. Iria nodded, but her legs were shaking. Her body hadn't fully healed. Every step looked like it cost her strength she didn't have. But she didn't stop. Not while her children still breathed. Siri stumbled, and Jack reached out quickly, catching her before she fell. You okay? He asked gently. The little alien girl nodded, her voice quiet. Yes. Thank you. Jack gave her a small smile. You're doing great. The path twisted, uphill. Dead logs and thick roots made walking harder. Ten had fallen asleep in his mother's arms, his head resting against her shoulder. I can carry him, Jack offered. Iria hesitated, then handed her son to Jack slowly. Her fingers lingered on the boy's shoulder for a second longer than needed. He sleeps better now, she whispered. Jack adjusted his grip. He's safe now. All of you are. She looked at him. You keep saying that, but why? Jack didn't answer at first. Then he said, because someone should have done. The same for my mother. Iria's eyes widened. Your mother? Jack nodded. She raised me alone. My father left before I was born. We were poor, hungry, cold in winter. Neighbors locked their doors. No one helped, not until it was too late. He paused. She died when I was 13. Her body just gave up. Too tired, too broken. Iria looked down. I'm sorry. Jack shrugged. I made her a promise that if I ever had something, food, shelter, kindness, I'd give it to those who needed it. No questions. No judgment. He looked at her. So when you showed up in my garden, I knew it was time. Iria stopped walking. Jack turned. What is it? But she didn't speak. Instead, she reached out and touched his arm. Just a light touch. Then she said something in her own language. Soft, almost like a song. Jack blinked. What does that mean? Iria looked up at him. It means, you are now part of our breath. He frowned. Your breath? It is what we say, she explained, when someone is family, not by blood, but by choice. Jack stood still for a moment, then gave a quiet nod. All right then, he said. Let's get your family to safety. They walked the last stretch in silence. Finally, they reached a thick wall of trees. Behind it stood an old cabin, small, wooden, covered in moss. Nature had tried to erase it, but it still stood. Jack pushed open the door. It creaked. Inside, a dusty bed, a fireplace, cans of food, a blanket left on a chair from years ago. Welcome to my grandpa's hideaway, Jack said. No power, no neighbors, no drones. Iria stepped inside slowly, her eyes scanning every corner. This hymn will work. Siri walked to the window. Can we stay? Jack looked around. For now. He helped lay 10 down on the bed. The boy didn't wake. Siri curled beside her brother. Iria sat near the cold fireplace. Jack knelt to start a fire. The sparks lit the shadows in the room. Iria watched him. You're not afraid of us anymore. Jack gave a half smile. I never really was. Just then, a low noise echoed outside. A deep, pulsing hum. Jack stood up. That's not a drone, he said. Iria's body went stiff. No, she said. That sound is one of ours. Jack rushed to the window. A faint red glow blinked between the trees. Iria stepped closer. That's a trace ship. They follow crash signals. If they land, they'll find us. Jack backed away from the window. The fire flickered, and for the first time, Jack saw something in Iria's face he hadn't seen before. Fear. Not for her life, but for his. The agents arrive. The red light grew brighter through the trees. Jack stood at the cabin window watching it flash like a heartbeat. His fists clenched. He had no weapons, no plan, And now, two enemies were closing in. Iria stepped beside him, holding Siri in her arms. Her eyes were locked on the glowing sky. "That's a search beacon," she said. "A trace ship will land within the hour." "And the agents?" Jack asked. She looked at him. "They will come too. They always follow the signal. Your people want us gone." Jack stepped away from the window and walked to the back wall. He lifted a loose floorboard. Underneath were old camping tools, matches, 2 gas canisters, and a hunting rifle his grandfather left behind. "I hoped I'd never use this again," he muttered. Siri looked up at him. "Will we have to run again?" Jack kneeled beside her. "Not this time." But just then, a second sound cut through the forest. Engines. Tires on dirt. Jack ran outside and climbed onto a stump. Down the hill, hidden in the shadows, 3 black SUVs rolled up the narrow path. They stopped quietly. Men stepped out, the same agents from before. But this time, they had dogs. And bigger scanners. "They tracked us," Jack said, rushing back inside. Iria's voice dropped low. "We must go now." "No," Jack said firmly. "There's no more running." He looked at her. "I told you I'd keep you safe. I meant it." Iria shook her head. "You don't understand. These men, they don't ask questions. They destroy. You help us now, you may die." Jack's eyes didn't waver. "Then I'll die on my feet." The children watched silently. Ten took his mother's hand. Siri stepped behind Jack like he was a shield. Jack turned to the fireplace and grabbed the metal poker. He handed Iria the rifle. "You know how to use one?" She checked the chamber, then nodded once. "We trained to survive. We just never expected to survive." "Here." A light flashed through the front window, a flashlight beam. Jack pressed his finger to his lips. Everyone quiet. Footsteps. Leaves crunching. A voice outside. "Cabins occupied. Thermal scan shows 4 bodies. Possible match." Another voice replied, cold and sharp. "Confirm, then clear it." Iria crouched near the door. Rifle. Ready. Jack moved to the other side, gripping the fireplace poker like a bat. He could hear his own heartbeat. Then a bang. The front door burst open. Jack swung fast, hitting the first agent in the leg. The man dropped with a cry. Iria fired a warning shot into the ceiling. "Stay back," Jack shouted. The agents hesitated, but only for a second. Then came a deep electronic growl. Outside, the red beacon blinked out. From the woods came something else. A tall, black shape moved between the trees. Not human. Not friendly. Contact. Unknown entity. Moving fast. One of the agents yelled. They forgot the cabin. Guns turned, dogs barked, scanners beeped wildly. Iria's face turned white. They followed the ship. The hunters. They're here. Jack peeked out the window. A large alien figure, twice the size of a man, charged through the clearing. Smooth black armor, no eyes, no voice. Just speed and death. The agents opened fire. Screams followed. One agent ran toward the cabin, unarmed, bleeding. Jack pulled him inside and slammed the door shut. The man gasped. What is that thing?" Iria whispered. "That is not from my people. That is something far worse. Something that feeds on what's left behind." Outside, the growls grew louder. Inside, the air was still. No one spoke. And then, Jack looked at Iria. "I'll get you out," he said. Iria reached out, her hand shaking, and touched his cheek. "No, Jack. This time, I stay and fight. Family beyond blood." The cabin shook. Outside, the armored alien hunter roared. Its black body moved through the trees like a shadow on fire. Nothing stopped it. Not bullets, not steel. It was built for one thing: erasing survivors. Inside, Jack held the fireplace poker tightly. Iria stood by the window, rifle aimed. Her children were behind the table, holding each other, silent and wide-eyed. The injured agent sat in the corner, bleeding and terrified. We didn't know it would follow, he whispered. We thought we were just chasing aliens, not waking monsters. Uriah's eyes stayed on the door. This thing does not chase. It hunts. It finishes what others begin. Jack looked. At her. Then we finish it first, she turned. You're still human, you can run, take the children, go north. I said, I'm not leaving you. You promised to protect my children, she said firmly. Not me. Jack stepped closer. No, I promised to protect your family, and you're part of it. For a moment, her face softened. Something broke through the fear. A quiet warmth. Then the cabin door cracked open from the outside, just a little. Cold air poured in. Jack and Uriah raised their weapons. The hunters' claw reached through the gap. Boom! Uriah fired first. The arm jerked back, but only for a second. A screech filled the night. The thing outside was angry now. Jack ran to the back wall. There's a crawl space. It leads outside to the slope. He pulled the rug, opened the small hatch. You take the kids, he said. I'll hold it off. No, Uriah said. We go together. But Ten was already pulling her sleeve. Mama, please. Siri looked up at Jack. You're coming too, right? Jack didn't answer. Uriah stared at him and saw the truth in his eyes. He wasn't planning to survive. She grabbed his hand and whispered something in her own language again. What does that mean? He asked. It means if you fall, we carry your name in every breath. He smiled. That's a pretty good deal. She kissed his hand, grabbed her kids, and crawled into the escape path. Then Jack stood alone. The cabin door exploded inward. The hunter stepped in, taller than the ceiling. Its armor reflected firelight. Its eyes, if it had any, were hidden behind a dark, glass-like faceplate. Jack didn't wait. He ran at it, yelling, swinging the metal poker like a sword. The hunter caught him mid-air. But just before the final blow, a second shot rang out. From behind the cabin, the injured agent, barely standing, had picked up Uriah's rifle. He pulled the trigger one last time. The shot struck the hunter's exposed neck. Sparks flew. The creature screamed. Jack dropped, rolled, grabbed the poker. Stabbed deep into its side again and again. The beast howled, then fell. Smoke rose from its broken chest. The silence that followed was heavy, then peaceful. Jack lay on the floor, coughing, bloody, alive. Outside, Uriah and the children waited, hiding among the trees. When Jack finally stumbled out, barely walking, Siri ran to him first. You came back, she whispered. I said I would, Jack replied. Ten hugged his leg tightly. Uriah walked to him slowly, eyes full of tears. I saw you fall, she said. I promised I wouldn't stay down. She touched his face. From this moment, she said, you are no longer just a human to us. Jack smiled. What am I then? You are our breath, our protector, our family. They left that night together. No home, no plan, just one human, one alien mother and two children, bound by a choice stronger than blood.